Hey guys, been a little bit since I've been on camera, huh? But I needed to be on camera for this one. This news is very interesting because Amazon is doing an experimental thing in several countries in Europe. And obviously, once they prove that this experimental thing is beneficial to them, likely going to be spreading to other regions. And I wouldn't be surprised if it comes to the United States at some point. And this has to do with pre orders, specifically on like CDs, movies, video games, basically, that digital kind of media, physical media, etc. Aspect of entertainment. And what's happening is they are charging for pre-orders basically within 5 days of you making that pre-order. Amazon's current policy, as it states on their website, is you can pre-order an item and you will be charged when that item ships. That's how everything basically works. Whenever you order anything on Amazon, they usually don't hit you right away. They hit as soon as the item starts to ship. So it might be hit in the same day if they start shipping it the same day, but you always wait until the item ships, and that's when you're charged. Or they charge right before they ship, to be honest. And that makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense on the consumer end because why should you pay for something that you aren't getting yet, right? But we all know, like in person, that's not how pre-orders necessarily work at other places. Like at GameStop, you have to put $5 down on a game in order to pre-order it, just so that it can hold that pre-order. And yes, that $5 goes toward your pre-order, but you still have to put something down. Whereas on Amazon, you never needed to do that. Best Buy actually does something kind of similar to this, except they don't charge you. What they do is they do a pre-charge. So what they do is they check your account when you make a pre-order at Best Buy and make sure that you have the money in your account before you pre-order. And then what Best Buy does is from that moment up until whenever the game releases, they do random checks of your card to make sure the money's still there. And if at any point one of those random checks doesn't pass, they actually cancel your pre-order. It kind of sucks, especially for people that are like, hey, look, I'm not going to have the $60 right now, but I know I'll have the $60 at launch. It kind of sucks because you can lead to losing, pre-orders of special editions, especially some of those really expensive ones. But it is what it is. It's one of the things I actually like about GameStop over Best Buy and Amazon, where it's just $5, they hold your pre-order, and you can actually pay that pre-order off over time, which is really nice as well. I like that aspect because then you can almost treat like a far off pre-order kind of like a layaway item where you're just paying a little bit here and there, and then by the time you get it, it's paid off. But whatever, I digress. We're talking about Amazon, and the policy has been working for a long time, but several people have now confirmed that this is not the way it's happening anymore, at least in certain countries in Europe, and then likely it's just going to keep expanding. They're just kind of trickling it out. And right now, what happens in those countries is if you pre-order a game, they do a check on your bank to make sure the money's there, and then 2 to 5 days later, they charge you. You will still get pre-order price guarantee on items that have pre-order price guarantee, which means if the item becomes cheaper before it releases, they will refund you a whatever the difference is. So say you spent $62 or whatever on a game, and it ends up costing $50 by launch, they'll refund you the $12 or whatever for the game. And that's all fine and dandy, and some people might like this change, but I know a lot of people that aren't going to like this change, especially when you're doing things like pre-ordering, I don't know, a $300 special edition Fallout 76. I know. Sorry. When you're pre-ordering any sort of special edition of anything that can be really expensive, a lot of times people just want to get that pre-order in so it's held and then they can save up to pay it off. Not so much anymore. Now you have to have the money right away. And I think that's a little bit of a bummer for people that liked having a system where they could lock in a pre-order and then, not pay it off till later. Now, still in the U.S., we could still do that for now, but I venture to guess that this is probably going to work out very well for Amazon as they're going to get the money sooner and eventually spread to here, assuming that that it actually works from a legal standpoint, which I'm sure it does, since Best Buy basically does the same thing. So, not exactly the same, of course, because Best Buy doesn't charge you, but they make sure your account always has the money in it. So I honestly think that this is a change that is going to outrage a lot of people because Amazon, one of the nice things about Amazon pre-orders is there wasn't really a penalty for pre-ordering, right? And apparently one of the statements from someone at customer service was that they're making this change because of people who would cancel special edition pre-orders right up by launch. And I think that that's dumb. Who cares? Someone else is going to buy that copy, right? Like, it's a special edition. It's a limited edition. It's still going to sell. And from Amazon's perspective as a retailer, all they should really care about is that the product sells. So say it gets canceled right up close to launch. Oh, well, it sits in your warehouse for an extra day while somebody else buys it. Like, it's going to be sold anyways. So I don't really get how that's a problem, especially when Amazon has wait list. So there are wait lists you can do on sold out items that if one of those items becomes available, they will contact you on that list, and there's a wait list. So like, Amazon already has something in place if something like this happens. So why they needed to change the policy like this, supposedly, according to one representative, because of people canceling special edition pre-orders, really close to launch, I don't get it. I don't buy it. I think it's a weak excuse. I think the reality is Amazon just wants their money now. I mean, the most obvious, reasoning is probably the correct one. They are a company that wants to make as much money as they can. And if people are constantly pre-ordering and they keep pre-ordering, they're always going to have pre-order revenue coming in. So they're just going to keep making more and more money. And it makes a lot of sense to get the money right away instead of waiting. And I think that's what they like about it, is it's a guaranteed sale, basically right away. And whatever. I mean, this is what they're doing. You can disagree with it. You could try to go to another online retailer that maybe doesn't do it this way. But that's what Amazon's doing, at least in several countries in Europe and likely the world over once they get past this slow rollout or potential slow testing phase. It probably it might just be a slow rollout, since not every country in Europe is this way yet. But I know Spain and the UK for sure are. I think Italy, probably some others. So I'm sorry for people that are dealing with this, and I'm sorry for all of us in the U.S. when it finally comes our way. Times are changing, and unfortunately, the reality of a business like this is we as customers don't really have a lot of say over it. The only way we could speak is with our wallets, but there really aren't a lot of places that we're doing what Amazon did anyways with pre-orders. So we don't really have a lot of alternatives to run to outside of going back to brick and mortar stores and putting a few bucks down on a pre-order at Walmart or GameStop, which a lot of you guys don't want to do, and you don't get the pre-order price guarantee like you do on Amazon still. So again, this is a really silly thing. It's a really stupid thing. It's a dumb change. I don't know that it's anti-consumer, but it's definitely not pro-consumer, right? I think it's kind of one of those straight line moves where it's just annoying. And I wanted to let you guys know about it before it ends up affecting a bunch of my audience. I know we do have some audience in those countries it's already going to affect, but I wanted to let everyone know this is a thing that's happening, especially as E3 is coming around and we're going to get a bunch of new game announcements and pre-orders, and people are going to be looking to pre-order games and all that stuff, pre-order special editions especially, and because Nintendo might have a whole bunch of new special editions. There could be a special edition for Fire Emblem. There probably already is one, and I'm not even aware of it. There's just going to be this policy change to be aware of, because I do feel like this will come to the United States eventually. And yeah, basically within 5 days of ordering now, you need to have the money and they're charging it off. So anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'll put links in the description where you can read a little bit more about this, like on Reset Era. I'm a guy on Twitter, all that stuff where they verified all these things. I don't live in Europe, so I'm not going to call, overseas to try to verify this myself. I'm just going to trust people that live there. If you live in Europe and you've talked to your Amazon representatives, let me know what they are saying down in the comments on this post. What are your thoughts on this policy change? Do you care? Do you not care? Does it not matter to you? I know it matters to me, because Amazon, the only time I pre-order on Amazon is when I just didn't have the money right now, but I knew I'd have it later. But now, I don't know that I'm going to pre-order on Amazon much. But all right, folks. I'm Nathaniel Rufflejans from Nintendo Prime. Be sure to enter our Nintendo Switch Super Smash Bros. Ultimate giveaway through the Gleam.io link down in the description. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video.